In this problem, we'll be finishing some sequences. We're asked to find the next three numbers in each sequence. And let's start with the first sequence, 6, 5, 3, 0. We're looking for a pattern, and since these decrease, we can try subtracting. We can subtract, let me write this here, 6, 5, 3, 0. We might think perhaps that they go down by the same amount each time. So we could subtract usually the second one minus the first one. 5 minus 6, well, that's 5 plus negative 6, and that's negative 1. So it went from 6 to 5, it changed by negative 1. What about from 5 to 3? Well, 3 minus 5 is 3 plus negative 5, which is negative 2. So it wasn't the same amount of change each time. Let's check the next amount. 0 minus 3 is 0 plus negative 3, which is negative 3. And now we begin to see the pattern. It decreased by 1 the first time, 2 the second time, 3 the next time. So by following that pattern, we can subtract 4 and then 5 and then 6 to get the three remaining numbers in the sequence. So we have 0 minus 4 is negative 4. Negative 4 minus 5 is negative 9. Negative 9 minus 6 is negative 15. And we've finished the first sequence. Now let's take a look at the second sequence. In the second sequence, these numbers also decrease. Let's do those subtractions and see what we have there. It looks like 14, 10, 6, 2. So let's subtract. 10 minus 14 is 10 plus negative 14, which is negative 4. 6 minus 10 is 6 plus negative 10, which is negative 4. 2 minus 6 is 2 plus negative 6, which is negative 4. So each of these decreases by 4. So if we continue to subtract 4, we should be able to fill in some more numbers in the sequence. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. Negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. Negative 6 minus 4 is negative 10. Now let's look at the next sequence. We have negative 4, negative 6, negative 9, negative 13. These are also decreasing. So let's see if there's a pattern in their amount of decrease. We have negative 4, negative 6, negative 9, negative 13. We subtract negative 6 minus negative 4, and that gives us negative 6, plus 4, which is negative 2. So it went down 2 from negative 4 to negative 6. Let's try the next section here. Negative 9 minus negative 6 is negative 9 plus 6, which is negative 3. It went down 3. How about negative 13 minus negative 9? Well, that's negative 13 plus 9, and that's negative 4. So it looks like this is decreasing similar to the first sequence, and if we would subtract 5 and then 6 and then 7, we would be able to finish this sequence. Negative 13 minus 5 is negative 18. Negative 18 minus 6 is negative 24. And negative 24 minus 7 is negative 31. Now there's something different with this last sequence because we have a positive number, a negative number, a positive number, and a negative number. If we were to subtract, it doesn't look like it's going to be a subtraction thing. The other thing to look at besides addition and subtraction, the next thing to look at is one of these divided by another one. And if we look at the ratio here, we'll see that the ratio of the two numbers is the same. We have 64, negative 32, 16, and negative 8. If I take the first one divided by the second one, 64 divided by negative 32, I get negative 2. So it looks like 64, if it was divided by negative 2, would give me negative 32. Let's see, negative 32 divided by 16 is also negative 2. So if I took negative 32 and divided by negative 2, I would get 16. Also, if I take 16 and divide it by negative 8, I get negative 2. So it appears that each one of these we can get to by dividing the one before it by negative 2. Dividing negative 4 by negative 2, we get negative 8 by negative 2, we get positive 4. Dividing positive 4 by negative 2, we get negative 2. And dividing negative 2 by negative 2, we get positive 1. And we found the next three numbers in each sequence.